Making mistakes on your own is very, very expensive. Just making mistakes in general is expensive, and you don't have to make your own mistakes. You can learn from somebody else's and save your money.
Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we show you how to create passive income so that you have options for how to work and how to live your life while leaving a legacy of positive social impact.
Welcome back to Money with Mission, everyone. Today we have Jay Tenenbaum of Scottsdale Mortgage Investments. And Jay is going to have some important things to talk to us about different ways to invest in real estate and get passive income, as well as continuing to have that positive social impact. Thanks for coming to the show, Jay. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So talk about, you didn't start out your career in real estate investing. Is that correct? If I remember correctly, you're an attorney?
Yes. So everybody's got to start somewhere and sometime at some place. And I started out in the restaurant business in Colorado because that's what I knew. That's what my family was in. And one night, my father and I had a pink unicorn dinner all by ourselves. And he says, get out of this business, go get a profession. So like medicine, with all due respect, medicine did not interest me, but law did. So I chose the law route as far as a profession, got accepted to school in California, stayed, met my wife, who's also an attorney, practiced law, had her own practice for about 20 plus years. And the only real estate that I knew at that point in time was just buying and, owning my own homes. Right. And while I'm an expert in the mortgage side of real estate investing, I probably had no clue what I was signing when I was signing the promissory notes and deeds of the houses that I was owning. In 2009, I started a new company, sold the law practice, started a company, kind of an offshoot with a non-attorney partner. We were buying judgment liens in California. I was a debt collection attorney prior to that. So we were buying judgment liens in California where I lived, and we were only executing on real property. So it wasn't hitting banks. It wasn't garnishing wages. I just was one specific area, one model, and became very, very good at it. Deal flow dried up 2 years later by 2012. And in 2013, got the opportunity to go to a guy's note buying for dummies workshop, 4 days in San Diego, which I did. And I realized that, I've been in debt all my life, just not personally. This was just another debt instrument that I could deal with. So my real estate education sort of came from owning my own homes to, in the execution of real property, starting to learn title reports and priorities, stuff like that. And then mortgage notes became, kind of just another debt instrument real quickly. And so I've been doing that for 10 years ago, August of 2013.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to go back. So you started out as a judgment attorney, judgment lien. What did you call it?
Debt collection. Basically, we did a lot of business, like, if somebody owed an invoice to somebody else, we were representing the creditor on the open invoice. We did more business stuff than personal, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then you said you sold that business and then went into, with a non-attorney partner, judgment lien.
Yeah. So in debt collection, you've got really two facets. You've got the commercial side, which is what we did, where business to business disputes that you're dealing with. And then you had the retail side where Discover, Capital One, credit card grantors are giving attorneys their fresh charge-offs, right? And they're suing on those. And what happened was these were judgments that were, recorded in like 2001, 2002. And the way that side of the practice worked, which I wasn't very much involved in, I didn't like that model very well, is the credit grantor, like say Discover, if your attorney got you a judgment in 2001, 6 months to a year later, they just recalled it because if you couldn't collect on it, they just took it back. They didn't do anything with it. They just took it back. So by 2009, 2010, they were now selling those credit grantors and debt buyers were now selling their judgments in order to turn their money around and buy more fresh charge-offs from other people. So that's how we spent probably $100,000 and probably about $4 million worth of judgments in 2011.
That's the second business that you had? I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you say judgment liens on real property only? That's
all. We bought the judgment lien, and all we were doing was if we're looking at a pool of judgment liens, we had a relationship with North American Title that said, if you were a current homeowner or you ever owned property, those are the only judgments we were going to buy, because we were just only going to go after the real property as the asset to collect.
Okay. And how is that different from what you do now?
Now I'm actually buying the mortgage. Okay. So Bank of America originates a mortgage, you stop paying, and then you sell the mortgage. Bank of America sells it to hedge fund A and strokes it, like Goldman, and then Goldman will sell it to somebody else for $1.95 more, and ultimately it gets down to us, since we're buying it at a good discount.
And you're buying a mortgage as opposed to a lien.
Correct.
Is it-
First position mortgages. So now I'm king of the hill. I'm in first position on that property.
Got it. I don't know this process very well, so I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. So
Sure.
I buy my property, buy my house, take out my loan through Bank of America, lose my job, whatever, stop paying my mortgage. What does Bank of America do? I think they're going to foreclose on me and take my house. But
They
it sounds
will,
like-
but they most likely, well, Bank of America, for example, does like the press. So they will sell your delinquent mortgage before they'll foreclose on you. But somebody will pick up that mortgage as it's being sold down the food chain, somebody like us, perhaps, and we probably would start foreclosure.
Okay. So let's put some numbers on it. So let's say I owed $100,000 on my house. Bank of America sells that delinquent mortgage to you. And how does that work?
So back in 2013, 14, when it was, still trying to recover from the crash, I probably bought your mortgage for $45,000.
Okay.
Now I'm probably buying it for close to $65,000-$70,000.
Okay. And then what do you do with it?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to contact you and say, hey, how can I help you? I mean, the typical spiel is we do strive to work with borrowers and keep them in their homes. And really the only ones we foreclose on are those borrowers that just can't get out of their own way and help themselves. And what was kind of our approach is, Felicia, I know we own your mortgage. How can I help you? And there's like 30 seconds of silence when you've never been asked, how can I be helped? You've got calls from Bank of America going, pay or die, pay or die, pay or die. And so you're like stunned by the question. And then you get your feet underneath you, and then you vomit your country western song on me and everything that ever happened to you. But in that conversation, you're going to say, hey, I can commit to do this. And you're offering me a solution instead of me demanding one from you. At which point in time, if the numbers make sense, which they typically do because I bought it at such a discount, that you're not going to default on me because it's a payment commitment you made to me. And when I speak to you, past that initial, shock and awe of conversation, I'll qualify you a little bit and say, hey, are you employed now? Where's the money coming from? Kind of get an idea that you can truly afford what you're saying. You're not just giving me lip service to get off the phone. But other than that, I have three rules. We're going to communicate. If I call you, you're going to call me back. Whatever commitment you make to me, I expect you to honor it. And then number 3 is whatever commitment requires performance, I expect you to perform. All I'm asking you.
Got it. They're interesting. And so if I fail to perform, then you foreclose, or do you sell that mortgage again?
Both, either or both.
Okay.
And I may also sell if you're performing and you're doing well. I've now value added the loan. I bought it as a non-performing loan. I've now created it to be performing again. It has value add where I could sell it on the secondary market. And if I bought it at 60 cents on the dollar, I'd probably sell it for like 85, 90 cents on the dollar as it's performing.
Oh, got it. Okay. So process, you can buy a non-performing loan, non-performing mortgage, bring it to performing, and one exit strategy is to sell it at a higher rate because you value added for those
Correct.
who understand that real estate thing, value added to that, can sell it for more. You can hold it and just keep collecting on that, and you're
Right.
making money because you set it up so that you're going to make, you're the bank essentially. So you're making
Correct.
making the
Yes.
bank.
That's correct.
What's any other exit strategy on it?
On the performing side, somewhere down the line, you may come to me or I may come to you and go, you know what, you owe, $50,000 still, $35,000, let's call it a day. Now your house free and clear, something like that. And that's called a short settlement payoff. You may short sell your property at some point, maybe what the property's worth. You may have an opportunity to sell your property for less than what you owe me. And I'm not the big bad bank that's got to take 6 months to make a decision. We can make a decision pretty quickly.
So I thought I heard you say you would potentially sell the property to sell the property to the person living.
I would give you a discount on what the remaining balance that you owe me. So now you always own the property.
Right.
I only own the lien. What it basically saying is I will satisfy your mortgage at a discount.
Why would you do that?
Opportunity. I mean, I'm still making money. If I'm buying your mortgage for, you owe 100 grand, I'm buying it for 40, you're making a few payments. You come to me and say, I could sell it. You could, cash me out at 70. Why would I do it?
Got it. Hey, now I got it.
It's a win-win. You've got the
I got
ability to pay it, and I'm okay with taking a discount because I make a good return on investment, and I'm
Okay.
helping you out. Fine with that. I'll tell you a story. So my current company, Scottsdale Mortgage Investments, when we started with a business partner in 2018, and our start was we bought 21 seller finance mortgages. And what these are a little different. The scenario is Fannie and Freddie foreclosed on a gazillion houses in 2010, 2011. A hedge fund that I knew in Dallas bought these loans from Fannie and Freddie, didn't put a liquor rehab in the house. They bought the house because they're already foreclosed on. They're not buying the loan. And then they went to you and you said, for $300 down, $500, $300 down, $500 a month, you're going to have home ownership. Now it's like a car loan though. The way it was set up was I'm giving you possession. I'm retaining title until you pay me off.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mhm.
Then when they went delinquent on the hedge fund sold it to me invariably. I started doing business with them in 2015. 2018, they came in about 125 mortgages from them in 2015 to 16, 17. And they came to me, they were always liquidating their fund anyway. In 2018, they come to me and they said, I'm really down in my last 50 mortgages that I own, and I made an offer and they basically ended up with 21 of those mortgages for $85,000 total.
21 for 85,000. Okay.
Yeah. So I made one phone call and about 17 of those that were occupied, just got the borrowers to start paying again. And on one of them in particular, a guy in West Virginia, he was paying for a while. His wife had leukemia. She finally passed away, and everything that could happen to him, he got hurt at the job. They wouldn't pay disability or unemployment or anything, workers' comp. So he really was a scratching claw to pay me. Right. And I bought this loan, like I said, 2018 for $3,000. Right. And so finally in December of this year, what had happened was he went invariably last year, he went to a local West Virginia mortgage relief company and basically got his mortgage caught up through April of last year.
Okay.
Then we went on a new payment plan of $100 a month and he really couldn't make that. And I'm struggling with them and, he's promising and it's not just happening and anything else. So I made whole. I'm in the black on the portfolio. I'm in the black on his loan. So I'm having lunch one day. I knew I was going to do this. I'm having lunch one day with one of my asset managers. And I said, we're going to make a phone call. It's kind of a teaching moment as well. I said, we're going to make a phone call to this guy in West Virginia. And I'm 99% sure he's going to cry during this phone call. Now, okay, some of you out there might think, I'm going to be just a big bad debt collector and just start demanding on him and I'm going to bring him into tears. No. That's not going to happen. Basically what I told him was, look, dude, you've been struggling. He was always communicating with me, right? He wasn't always good on performing the commitments that he made to me, but he's always communicating with me. And I appreciated that. And basically I came to him and I said, look, dude, I know you've fallen on hard times, over the last several years. I know things are tough. Here's what I'm going to do. Merry Christmas. I'm just going to deed the house over to you and call the rest of the loan due. Rest of the loan waived. He started crying.
Yes. I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
It makes me want to cry.
Now he owns his house. He owns his house free and clear.
When you buy these properties, do you get a spreadsheet that says what they are, where they are, or you don't care?
We do get a spreadsheet. It's called the tape. Yes. And it has all the information on there, unpaid balances, what the originating mortgage was, when it was taken out, who the borrower is, the address, all kinds of various data points. Yes. And remember, I'm not buying properties, I'm buying mortgages. There's most of what I buy, I'll never own the property.
Right. However, one of the exit strategies is that you may have to foreclose. Now you do have a property, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
All right. So all this is great. A lot of the listeners are employed or busy surgeons, physicians. And often when I talk to them, they do talk about, I want to buy a property and And I was like, that's a job. This would be a way for them to invest, correct? You guys have an investment side you can actually participate in this structure?
Correct. Yes, we do. So we often do syndications where we have a series LLC where we're members of the specifics LLC where the assets, whether it's 1 or 5 or 20, we're all members of the same syndication.
So explain that. So if I decided I wanted to invest with you, what would that look like?
So we've evolved from, in the beginning, it was you would invest X amount of dollars, just, contractually on a joint venture arrangement. It would be for a specific set of loans.
Okay.
And I cut my teeth on what we call the low balance loans. Your $100,000 mortgages. Back in the day, I was buying houses that were only worth 50 grand in the Rust Belt in the South. I was buying for like maybe $5,000-$10,000. We've, scaled up since then, and our average mortgage we're buying is probably spend about $250,000 and buying $500,000, $700,000 homes.
Okay.
We're not buying the home, we're buying the mortgage against those kind of homes.
Right.
And so as we scaled up, it's easy to raise $50,000 and buy 3 or 4 low balance loans, right? If I'm buying a mortgage for $350,000, you either have it or you don't. And so we evolved in doing syndications, where now we're pooling investors in a member managed limited liability company,
right,
to raise that $350,000. It could come from, 2 investors. If we're doing a syndication, there's more than one investor, 2 to 5 typically.
And would those investors only be participating in that one loan, or are they participating?
Whatever we bought in that syndication, could be 1 loan, it could be 5 loans, whatever we're buying from that raise.
Okay. So it's not necessarily, you don't do a blind fund and then my stuff gets invested. I'm investing in a specific thing or a specific number of loans. Is that correct?
We are evolving into a blind fund, but currently we don't. Yes, you're investing in specific assets, identifiable assets.
Got it. A blind fund, for those who don't know, is where you're investing with Scottsdale Mortgage Investments, and you know that what they're going to do with your money. You just don't know specifically exactly when or exactly what the products in your portfolio are going to look like.
Correct. We're buying, instead of 1 asset or 3 assets in a specific syndication, you're now investing in the fund, which may own 400 assets.
Right. Correct. And you don't necessarily know what they are compared to the I forget the words. When you do know what you're getting, it's like you're investing in this fund and we have these 5 assets that we have in there. That's what they look like. Da, 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 da. You're
Correct.
investing in a blind fund. You don't 100% know everything you're going to have. There's some thoughts or some projection on what your return's going to be and that kind of thing. And some of that's based on past performance. It's based on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. With your investing right now, how long is the hold time for the capital?
Typically 2 years-ish. I mean, depending on what we're buying, we could probably liquidate, any asset within 2 years. Some of it we're buying portfolios of assets, 100 at a time or 50 at a time or 20 at a time. And some of them are 5 minutes from foreclosure, and some of them are already performing, and some of them haven't foreclosure gotten started. So it runs the gamut. Some of them are in longer states that take longer to foreclose, and some of them aren't. So, just you diversify your risk by the diversity of the portfolio.
Gotcha. And if I invested with you, do I expect cash flow as we go, or is it return of capital plus friends at the end of that hold period?
It all depends on what the offering looks like. But yeah.
Okay. And you said you haven't started doing blind funds yet?
We're in the process of putting one together. Yeah.
Got it. And your properties are where in the country or world?
They're still in the United States. They're not, I can't even say the continental United States, because we do own some stuff in Hawaii. I've invested in probably 45 plus states in the course of my career. I don't think I couldn't even tell you. It was funny. A few years back, I've got twin daughters that are now 15, and they were a couple years ago, so probably 13. So we're sitting at dinner one night in a vacation in Hawaii, and they started about some song they learned in grade school about how they can name the 50 states through this song, right? So the conversation started with, we went across around the table over, name a vegetable that starts with A, and you go down the alphabet, and then became the states with the song. So finally I said, wait a second, sing your song slowly, respond as to whether I've ever invested in that state or not, right? And I think at the time, I was over 40 for the song. Alabama, yes. Alaska, no. Arkansas, yes. That kind of stuff. Arizona, no.
Yeah.
So I think the number was like 40 at the time. And I can be honest with you, it could be more now, because we bought so many assets in such larger portfolios that I really wasn't paying attention to what, because I'm not on that side of the fence of what the geographic population is. So like I said, I don't know that I've ever there's certain states where you never see loans, like North Dakota, South Dakota, et cetera. I think we own a loan in South Dakota. So I can't even say I never loaned a loan in South Dakota. So yeah, so it's probably close to almost all, but I don't think
All
so.
50.
Anything.
Got it. What do you do for your company or with your company?
So I wear several hats, primarily capital raising and managing and overseeing the loss mitigation asset management side. And what I mean by that is the loss mitigation is where we're, doing our loan mods, talking to borrowers, whatever, anything that gets to, taking it back in foreclosure. If it comes back in foreclosure, now I own the physical property, and then I've got a different team that does the asset management of liquidating the REO.
Okay. And does your company ever hold properties and have them as
Yeah. Yes.
rental property?
If
You have another division that does that?
No, the same division. It's just a question on our evaluation, whether that makes sense.
Say
Everything's
that
about
again.
and what makes sense. What's the highest and best maximum use of the return on investment? We hold it as a rental, there's a cash flow at a decent cap rate versus we should just sell it as is, or should we rehab it or whatever. I mean, invariably from owning from the day you buy a non-performing loan, we've identified probably over 20 different exit strategies. Some of them are tributaries, offsets of each other, but there's over 20 diverse exit strategies that you can employ in non-performing loan, which is why we like this business, because you pivot and move on. If it's not X, it could be Y, and whatever. Even in the REO side, we do a ton of seller financing.
Okay. God, there's so many questions I have. This is good stuff. Loss mitigation. Sometimes you hold them. How do investors get in touch with you guys? How do they find out what's going on?
So our website is, we rebranded. I think our website is Scottsdale Mortgage Investments.
We'll have it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll put it in the show notes for you.
Yeah. I mean, you reached out to Tyler, however you get, we have a podcast, the Real Estate Mastermind, which we air Tuesdays a month. And our website, you can sign up to be in touch with us. Tyler, our marketing director, manages all the initial communication.
Perfect. What do you think that an investor who's looking to get into real estate investing, somebody who knows they need to start investing off Wall Street, knows their 401k is not the answer to their retirement, whatever that word means these days, what would be a piece of advice you'd give to them?
Good question. So I'll answer the question this way. When I had our law practice, we grew to 45, what I call 45 hangnail employees. It was just too easy to call it with a hangnail, right? And babysitting those employees did me in. I love the practice of law. I haven't practiced in 2012. I love the practice of law, but babysitting 45 employees plus was just a pain in the butt. And unfortunately, because it was a collection practice, it was voluminous, right? We had like 6,000 open files. And while the money was good, similar to your profession, I was too far inside the practice. I should have invested it in real estate, whatever, back then. And like I said, I only really got my investing career started, basically in 2013, where your investment career can start sometime, someplace, but it has to start somewhere, right? And so I was too far inside that practice. So number one, to your audience specifically, is don't get too far inside your profession and your practice. And two, identify what your goals and objectives are. In your field, your profession, you guys are busy. You guys do have a lot going on. Being hands-on, I had the time and ability to be hands-on from day one in my business. A lot of our investors from all walks of professions don't. And so if they want passive, great. If they want, active, great. If they want pactive, which is somewhere in the middle, that's fine. A lot of investors come to me and say, I really want to learn. And yet they really don't, because they never really stay engaged enough to learn. So it's really a matter of what your goals and objectives are. Do you have the time? If you think you've got the time and the desire, do it by yourself. I would, in the beginning, at least partner with somebody who's done it before to show you the ropes. Even though I'm an experienced guy now, I started the same way. So I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
So you really got to identify your goals and objectives and understand what's possible. We have a trade desk. You can buy assets from our trade desk through Tyler and do it yourself. But if you don't know what you're doing and don't have the time to do it, I wouldn't encourage that.
Yeah. Making mistakes on your own is very, very expensive. Just making mistakes in general is expensive. And you don't have to make your own mistakes. You can learn from somebody else's and save your money and just keep
We've,
going.
we've, we've stubbed our toe and ripped the Band-Aid off many, many times. It's 10 years.
So have I. Sometimes it feels like a broken leg, not just a stubbed toe.
True. I can relate to that. Yeah, true.
Those lessons and opportunities and areas for growth and the education you learn in real estate investing are really good lessons. And I think both of us probably have the goal of preventing people from making some of those same mistakes by just helping them along. You don't have to be out there on your own. You guys know I preach this all the time. And I don't recommend anybody getting out there on your own. We don't do it in medicine. You don't just decide you're going to be a doctor and go out there and start doing it. You practice for a very long time with somebody watching you. Same
True.
thing with your real estate investing.
Absolutely.
Jay, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. We'll have Jay's contact information in the show notes because I know you guys are doing 5 million other things while you're listening to this. But take a look at it. Everything is really good. This is a really good way, in my opinion, to get going. Of course, that's not investment advice. You know that. That doesn't count. Check it out, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can have a great financial return while positively affecting the lives of others. To learn more about our opportunities, go to moneywithmission.com.